Okay, this is KGHCX back again, and I welcome all of you to the Saturday Evening Youth Net for December 16. We have a bunch of stations on board, and I welcome all of you. Here's what we have this evening: KJ7AGQ, KO4NLR. We have N3AHC. KK7MNM, our newest young ham member. We have N5MXI, KN6ULC from Japan, KE8RJU, KNW3MOH. So I guess we can begin this evening, and looking forward to in the coming week. One more week until Christmas, so it doesn't take long, and before we know it, the year. Good evening, John, and you're number one this evening, and go ahead. KJ7AGQ, John, you copy? Go ahead.
This is KJ7AGQ. I'm at the solstice walk through the solar system net in Longview, Washington. It's about half hour north of where I live. And since I'm doing the solar system, I have a solar system joke. Why didn't the sun go to college? Because it already had 1,000,000 degrees. KJ7AGQ, back to net.
Okay, very good, John. Thanks for the first joke of the evening. 1,000,000 degrees, yes, I agree with that. Well, thanks for checking in, John, for number one on the list, and you have a good evening there, and we'll move along here, and let's go over to KO4NLR. And Bree, I saw your picture in the current issue of QST magazine with a group of young hams, and you were right at the beginning of the session there with your 4-H radio club. It was something to do with the school club roundup. Well, go ahead, Bree, and welcome aboard.
This is KO4NLR. You've been pretty busy with club stuff lately. We just had our club's holiday party where my dad, KY4OP, had us do an escape room he created. We each had a bracelet with a bead color on it, and we had to find what country was that our bead represented and what call sign that was for. So it took us 45 minutes exactly to figure out the escape room right before our timer was up. So we were down to the wire, but we managed to get it. We haven't gotten results yet for this year's school club roundup. So hopefully we did well. We did double our score from last year, so that was exciting. Other than that, not much going on. Very excited. This will be our last week of school before winter break, so yay. Almost in the clear. Yeah, other than that, not much going on. So KO4NLR, back to net.
Okay, Bree, very good. and I'm glad that you're taking an active part in your radio club there and getting kids interested and working on ham radio there. So if anybody wants to see what that picture, it's in the current issue of QST magazine. I think it's page 79. But anyway, we saw it and appreciate your efforts there, Bree. Okay, let us move along. Let's go up to, I think it's near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, N3AHC. Good evening, and how are things up in your way? Go ahead.
Good evening, N3AHC here. So, nothing much has really happened, although I guess sports-wise, even though I'm not like a huge Steelers fan down here, I'm just really disappointed by the previous losses they've had, considering they've played pretty bad teams and yet they still lost. So, I mean, I'm not too upset by it. I'm just a little annoyed because then the whole city just goes down in the dumps because of it. But I guess for some exciting news, so last night, the club that I'm in, which is W3OC, on Thursday night, we had our operations night, and it was the first time that I did it, and I got to operate FT8 for the very first time. So, and I was very hooked to it. I was very, very excited. So that's all I have, and 3AHC back to the net.
Okay, very good, Antonio. Good to have you aboard. Yeah, FT8 is a very popular mode. I don't have cable for it, but a lot of our yacht members do, and they use it. So, very good. Thanks for checking in, Antonio. And yes, I do have you on board, Ian. I had you right at the beginning. KI8AN. And he's one of our very active young hams over there in Lower Michigan. So, Ian, I saw your photos that your dad took. I think you were working POTA early this morning. So, how goes it? Ian, good evening. Go ahead.
Hi, and then everyone else on the net tonight. Yeah, I did. I got to meet him today, and he was really fun. He let me use one of his
and no schoolwork for you can always check in then as well. Good to have you aboard there, Jackson, our newest youth member. Okay, hey, let's head over to the western edge of the Pacific Ocean, to the country of Japan. And Quinn, KN6ULC. Good evening, Quinn. One of our regular check-ins every Saturday evening. Well, actually, Sunday morning over by you. So, Quinn, how goes it over there in Japan? Go ahead.
N6ULC. I'm actually not in Japan right now. I am currently in Vietnam. I had a very long flight over here. Although I may have had longer, I still didn't go to bed until like midnight. So that counts as long for me. And other than that, I'm having a pretty good time in Vietnam. Today I think I'm going to see my cousins and go to an arcade. That's pretty exciting because I really like being around my cousins. Other than that, really nothing much else to say. This is KN6ULC, back to net.
Okay, so you're in Vietnam this morning, well, over by you. Very good. You sound great, and glad you can check in as often as you do. So enjoy Vietnam, and check in again next week. We sure enjoy having you aboard. Okay, let's leave Vietnam then and come back to the States. And we have Grace on board, KE8RJU. Grace is in Lower Michigan. one of our many Lower Michigan young hams. So Grace, good evening, and how are things in Holland, Michigan? Go ahead.
This is Kilo Echo 8 Romeo Juliet uniform. Good evening to everybody on the net. Everything here in Holland, Michigan is going well. I didn't do too much today, but have been chasing the Youth on the Air stations for December Yoda Month, so really chasing those. Other than that, I was able to work Asiatic Russia yesterday on a satellite, so glad to get a new one in the log there. Other than that, school is getting really busy. One more week until Christmas break, but we have a lot of assignments and final exams that are due for my senior year. Other than that, K8RJU, back to the control.
Okay, very good, Grace. This is KGHCX, and thanks for checking in, and keep up that good work on the satellites. I think you're only a few grid squares away from having all of them verified. That's quite an honor to have all those grid squares in the United States verified through satellites. So, again, anybody wants to check her out, just go to QRZ, type in K8RJU, and you'll see how she's doing. Very nice to have you aboard, Grace. Okay, so let us continue onward, and let's go over to, let's see, Pennsylvania, W3MOH, another one of our young hams, and that would be James. He's 11 years old and pretty active young guy. So James, welcome aboard again. W3MOH. Go ahead.
Nothing much. Well, actually, I did have a lot today. So, we were baking Christmas cookies pretty much all this morning. Around 1 o'clock, I went over, well, it was actually around 2 o'clock. I went over to my friend's house, and we played, we just did a bunch of Nerf gun fights. I didn't really do much else today. So I don't have a joke, and yeah. So I'll hand it back to you. It's W3MOH, back to net.
Okay, KJ. Yeah, very good, James. Yeah, you don't need to have a joke every time you check in. It's just glad to have you aboard as it is and hear your voice. So thanks for checking in, James. And we'll move along here. By the way, I don't know, Jackson, if you can read the chat box. I think Ian has a question or comment relating to you there. And I know many of our check-ins do carry on conversations beyond the voice. They do it in the chat box, ask questions and answer questions. So keep that in mind too. If you check in, you have problems with the audio, you can always do the chat box. Okay, KF0NJT. That's our young ham over there in northwestern Iowa. And Elias, good evening. We missed you last night, but I'm sure you had a good reason for something else going on. So KF0NJT, Mr. Elias. Good evening, and go ahead.
KF0NJT. Good evening, Ed, and everyone else on the net. I'm still a little bit stuffy from Thursday when I was sick. I had to stay home. I've been in the house today, and I also had my friend Andy sleep over yesterday. He already left, but it was pretty fun. We got to play on Wii Sports, and yes, we still do have a Wii from a while back. I also have a joke. Why couldn't the pirate play cards? Because he was sitting on the deck. KF0NJT back to net.
KJ6, I like that one too. He was sitting on the deck, so how could he play cards? Thanks, Elias. And I'm glad you're feeling better now. I wasn't on the air on Thursday. John took over my net because the chat box. I was at a Christmas party. So, but we're back now. So thanks. Okay, appreciate your comments here on the Youth Net, Elias. Okay, I'm looking on my list. We do have David on board. So let's go to David now. David's in, by the way, David is our newest adult ham member as of today, N5MXI. David, and he's very interested in youth ham radio and has worked with youth in the past. So David, welcome to the yacht team as our newest adult member. W3, or rather N5MXI. Good evening, David. Welcome, and go ahead.
Hello, Ed, and hello to everyone else on the net. This is David from Corpus Christi, Texas, on the southern coast of Texas. I also have a joke for the group. What building has the most stories in it? A library. That's all I have, Ed. Back to the net control.
Okay, David, you are one of us for sure with that joke. Okay. Library has many stories. Probably the most of any building in the world, eh? Okay. Thanks for that one, David, and good to have you on board as our newest member. And we do have some adult members out there. You're not the only one by any means. So, very good. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, hey, Elias even liked your joke there, David. Okay, anybody else out there with any comments? Did we miss anyone? This is KGHCX. Standing by. Oh, we've got Dylan on board. We can't forget him. He's one of our regulars as well. Dylan's in the state of Missouri, KF0JFQ. So good evening, Dylan. How goes the violin playing and all the other activities that you're involved with? Go ahead, Dylan.
This is KF0JFQ. Good evening, Ed, and everyone else on the net. My violin playing goes well. I've been practicing this one piece just for fun at home. I can't pronounce it. Wait, no, I can't pronounce this one. Concerto in H Moll, whatever OP stands for, 35 by Oscar Writing or Reading, whatever. I can't pronounce it. Anyways, I've been practicing that just for fun. That's been fun. And then I've got I've got 3 performance dates coming up within the next couple months, so I'm not too busy, not too terribly busy. Other than that, today was a fun day. Today was my dad's birthday, so we all went to a big gun show, and they all went there for the guns. I went there for the food and the knives and swords. They are cool, and it's expert handmade craftsmanship, some of them. There was this one in particular. It was the kind of sabers that army officers would use back in the 1800s. They were so cool. There was katanas, there was throwing stars, little knives, pocket knives, switchblade knives, basically anything sharp and pointy, they had it, and it was so cool. Some of them were absolutely beautiful, intricately carved, ivory, reindeer, everything. They had a really cool knife collection, and then they had a World War II section with actual U.S. Army World War II issued gear, backpacks, helmets, that stuff. Some of them they actually had used in combat stuff. Anyways, it was a really cool gun show. So that's what my day was all about today. Then my brother just mentioned the time while talking about something else, and I was like, oh, 7 o'clock, yacht is happening. So here I am. But with that, I'll say 73 for now. This is KF0JFQ, back to net.
Okay, and this is KJH. Yes, very good, Dylan. Good to have you on board. Hello to your brother there, and Joshua, and the rest of the family. And hey, do what you do so well over there in Missouri. Okay, and let's see here. Let's see where our newest ham, Jax, is working on his general class license. And when you get that, let me know. Let us know, and you'll be able to play with a whole bunch of new frequencies. And also, too, there is a Youth Net every Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m. Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time on 14.332. That's run by several yacht members, and Lyle is one of those. Another one is Dylan up there in Minnesota, and Daniel up there in Michigan, and a young fellow in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. They all take turns running the net if they're available. Today only 2 of them were available, but Lyle in Colorado has a huge signal. So if you have HF on Saturday afternoon, go to 14.332. And also, too, some of our yacht members have been doing the Yoda special event during the month of December. So we already had a few yacht members do the special event, the 3-letter call signs. So with that, let's see here. I'm looking at my list. I think we've got everybody. Let's see. Oh, KN4VKW. Won't be able to talk. Okay. So we'll put that's KN4VKW Ryan, and Ryan is in Nashville, Tennessee. Sometimes they check in through the W8PIF repeater. By the way, you can, on Saturday evenings, you can check in through our local repeater, W8PIF-R, or Meganets. So there's 2 additional ways you can get in if the regular yacht node is giving you some issues. Anybody else out there with any comments? Anybody want to make some connections? One of our goals, of course, one of our objectives is to create friendships, and I think we've done that quite nicely over the past few years. We've created friendships amongst ham members, and so is there anybody out there with any additional comments? Go right ahead.
N3AHC.
Antonio, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I'm not sure who played the violin, but I just wanted to say that I also play the violin. I don't play it as much now because of college and other things, but I grew up playing the violin, and I really enjoy playing it as an instrument. So whoever also said they're playing a violin, please let me know. I'd like to talk to you more about that. Thanks. This is N3AHC, back to the net.
Okay, that was Dylan. Yeah, Dylan's in Missouri. I think he dropped out now, but that would be KF0JFQ. He's a regular supporter of the yacht group, and he's on quite often on the evenings and also on Saturday nights. So that's Dylan. He's, I think, 16 years old, and he's out there in Missouri. KF0JFQ. He's a Canadian transplant. He was born and lived in Canada for about, well, quite a few years. I think about 2 years ago, he and the family moved down to Missouri. All right, hey, my good friend Pete down there in Missouri is on board. Pete's a transplant from Marinette, Menominee. He's now down in Tennessee, but he does come back and visit us quite often. So, Pete, good evening. Got quite a crew on this evening. So how are things down in Tennessee, Pete? Go ahead.
Well, good evening, Ed, and everybody on the YACHT Net here. Good to hear the voices. It's going good. Temperature's a little bit on the warmer side than it is up by you, Ed, but guess what? I'll be back in the Marinette, Wisconsin, Menominee, Michigan area here. Actually, probably by Saturday afternoon, a week from today. Actually, Taylor's coming to, she's driving up from Eglin Air Force Base to meet up with me on Friday, and then we're going to drive up to Peshtigo where her mother is and drop off her dog where her mother's going to keep it for about a year because Taylor is going to be deployed in March, but because of everything else we got going on, this is the best time where I can ride with her on that long distance ride and get it taken care of because her dog is too big to fly with, so then she has to drive it all the way up to Peshtigo from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, where Eglin Air Force Base is nearby. So, and then we're preparing for going up there. Like I said, we'll be up there for only about a week, so I won't be up there for very long. Not planning on doing any tower work, except fixing an issue with 444-875, talking to Suring. But other than that, I hope everybody's prepared and looking forward to Christmas, which I am, and looking forward to seeing some people up there. And then, and then got the Hamcation in Florida in February in Orlando, Florida. And then shortly after that, Taylor and I are taking a trip overseas to Dubai, where we're going to be going. So I'll be over there for about a week as well, and then come back and keep busy. Now let me just reset here because I know that there's repeaters that are hooked up here, and I don't want to time them out. Okay, hopefully I was able to reset everything. Ham radio-wise, I just got offline about an hour ago with a group of people. We did our usual Saturday evening, late afternoon, early evening online VE testing. And I'll tell you, this online thing really works well. It's really neat. We use exam tools. And as Ed knows, I ran the VE team for about 15 years after Paul Drees WC9E passed it over to me, and then now I passed it over a couple of years ago to Doug, and I'm still involved with it with a couple of 3 different clubs down here actually, but I don't attend to all of them because otherwise I'd burn out too much. I hope everybody's enjoying the ham radio stuff. It sounds like that there's some really neat things going on. Sounds like the propagation has been pretty good on some of the bands from what I'm hearing. And on a ham radio note, from Scott and Jill Tower Electronics, they sell comedy equipment. I picked up that toy box, which is that one where you can put on a tri-mag and you can put it on your vehicle. And I'm looking at maybe sometime in the next month or two when I have time, doing either POTA or SOTA, Parks on the Air or Summits on the Air from down here. And it's one of those pluggable where you can change the bands and stuff like that. So I'm eager to try that and see how effective that is. So looking forward to that as well. That's all I got for the moment, but anyhow, I hope everybody is doing well and staying well. I know there's a lot of cold and flu going on, but hope everybody's faring out well. KGHCX and the wonderful group, AV9PJ from Tennessee.
Okay, and this is KGHCX. Very good, Pete. Hey, and hope things go well for you and Taylor. And when you get down to Dubai, maybe you can even check into the system here from way down in Dubai. That would be a first for us. So it's very good, Pete. Nice to have you aboard, and hope all goes well for you and Taylor and PJ. And so you have a great Christmas, and maybe we'll catch you when you're up here for that week. Okay, very good. Anybody else with any comments? You get a question there, Ian. You said you had talked to Ryan. I know Ryan's grandparents live in southwestern Wisconsin, and they were planning to come up for a while. Did you talk to Ryan or Blake then? Go ahead, Ian. Yeah, did you copy, Ian, the question? Did you actually talk to Ryan then in Wisconsin?
This is KD8DEF. Ian is currently has headphones on and is trying to get a special event station that's doing POTA currently. So, what was the question?
I thought that Ian had mentioned in the chat box he had talked to Ryan, KN4VKW. I know Ryan's grandparents are in southwestern Wisconsin, and they were planning to do a little POTA work up here in Wisconsin. Over.
Yeah, Ed, he did. I think he got, I wanted to say he got them this morning on 40 meter. He was looking for a frequency on 40 to start out. Really crowded, and he heard them, so he called them and did a park to park with them. That's all I know, but they were at a park in Wisconsin. So with that, I'll hand it back to you. This is KD8DEF. Okay, Tim. Well, we added you to the list too, so you're number 17. Thanks for checking in there, Tim. So very good. Okay. Jackson had a question about the repeaters being connected. Right now, there are two. One repeater, one conference node, in addition to the regular yacht node. So right now we're available on three, or two other besides yacht. The W8PIF repeater here in town, and also MegaNets, which is worldwide. So you can check in on. Just keep that in mind, Jackson. If you have a problem, W8PIF for only Saturdays though, and then MegaNets. Anytime we're on the air with a chat session or Youth Net, MegaNets is always included. So you can check in that way as well. So only thing is, Jackson, if you check in on MegaNets, I won't see your call sign on the screen. You'll have to put something in the chat box to tell me you're there. If you check in on the yacht node, then your all call sign automatically shows up as it does right now. So that's the way it works. Anybody else? Any questions? Any comments? A joke? Go ahead. M5MXI.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, Ed, I'm not familiar with MegaNets. How do you access it, or what system is it on?
It's one of the conferences. It's number 637329. 637329. Just punch it in the yacht section there up on the top. and you'll get into it. It shows up on my screen. It should show up on your screen, MegaNet's conference. Right now it's 2/300. If anybody checks in that way, then that first number will go up. But it's MegaNet's, and it's a regular conference amongst many throughout the world. Over.
Okay, so it's another Echolink net then.
Yep, you got it. That's what it is.
And one other question. Is there a DMR access to Yacht?
Not that I'm aware of, David. No, there isn't. Just Echolink for the time being, anyway.
Okay, thanks a lot. N5MXI.
Okay, glad to answer any questions. Don't hesitate. All questions are acceptable, and we'll try to answer as many as we can, or anybody else out there that may have an answer is welcome to participate. We're all here to help each other out and make ham radio an enjoyable hobby. KGHCX, standing by. Well, we had a good turnout this evening. We had, including MegaNets, we had 17 stations check in. KN4VKW, I think, was in on the chat box. I don't know if sometimes they check in through the local repeater, W8PIF. But if they did, I wouldn't see them again. They'd have to put their message in the chat box so I know they were there. Is anybody out there that I don't recognize or is not shown up on the screen? This is KGHCX. Okay, well, I guess that'll cover it. We did a good job this evening. Thanks to all of you out there. And there won't be a yacht session tomorrow on Sunday, although you are all welcome to check into the local 2-meter net on W8PIF-R, and that's on Sunday evenings at 7 Central, so that would be 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 Pacific Time, and of course 8 o'clock on the East Coast. I won't be running the net on my schedule is Christmas Eve, I believe. Let's see here. Let me look at the calendar. Yeah, the 24th. I should be available for running that net, although I do have some family coming over in mid-afternoon to open presents and have some snacks. But I should be available for 7 o'clock on Christmas Eve, if any of you are available. And oh yes, don't forget our regular Youth Net on December the 30th, but then New Year's Eve, we'll have a special New Year's Eve gathering, starting about, 7 or so, and we'll see how many check in there for New Year's Eve. That'll be coming up just a couple of weeks. How much more time do we have in 2023? Well, let's see. Not too much. Do we have 2 more weeks to go, and then we return the calendars. Anyway, thanks all for checking in. I do appreciate your support. Thanks to Jackson for being our newest ham and checking in, and John and Grace and Antonio and Pete and Ian and David and Andy, K7JKA, our good guy from Phoenix, high five guy, so you see him on the screen on the chat box. He's there with us, and I guess that about covers it. So again, have a great evening, a good weekend, and enjoy the upcoming Christmas season. KGHCX. I'll be standing by just for a few more minutes in case there's any latecomers. But again, thanks for checking in. And we'll be standing by. Let's see. Okay. Just looking in my chat box, see if I have anything that I need to read and pass along, but I guess not. KGHCX. We'll be clear, and again, thanks all.
73, I'd have a great rest of the night, and I just found out that solar flare that happened on the 14th was X2.8 possibly.
It was a high one, yes, it was one of the largest flares in this solar cycle. So I'm still getting HF here, but nothing spectacular. Thanks, Ian, for being there, and your dad as well, and your sister, KGHCX.